Not Quite Right is a podcast that contains some graphic content and therefore may not be suitable for all audiences. This is an Imaginauts podcast production, so please be sure to check us out on all available social media platforms. Enjoy the episode.
Why doesn't this thing have an indicator light? Weird. So, this is entry number 2, dated August 22nd, 2016. Note-taking and research on subject number 001. Okay. It's been a few days since the last recording. While the evidence isn't necessarily stacked in my favor, there is unquestionably something there. The park was closed for 2 days after that night, and while that is just something that happens, I checked the park today, first thing in the morning, and it seemed fine, with one notable exception. There was a new pier, freshly built. And I know it's better to be skeptical about these things, but that just seems insane, right? I mean, I'm not entirely sure what I mean. Regardless, it's time I moved to some research. To begin with, I had mentioned doing some research into the lake itself. Nothing like chemical dumps anywhere near here or anywhere in town as far as I could tell. If it was chemicals that made a fish that big, it would have had to be someone out of town doing something illegal, which feels even weirder. There's clear grassy ground and a big ring, and no way to really get a car in there, which makes no sense to me. Maybe I should go check again? As long as I don't have to go anywhere near the water, I think I'll manage. Be right back. Well, it is now August 23rd. Sorry, I meant to add once I got back, but I wanted to make a trend out of recording in the club room. As far as the lake, nothing seemed to be entirely out of the ordinary. There were a few people there. I mean, it was Sunday, to be fair. It makes sense. Actually, I think I saw Mr. Barrymore there, like, sunbathing or something. Man, that guy is strapped. Anyway, I wanted to get started with some, advertising? Advertising doesn't feel right, but I wanted to do some collecting on scary stories. I'll take anything for now. Just about anything, as long as it's spooky. I made a poster. Not exactly my best work, but hey, if it gets me one person, it's worth it. Probably worth it. End recording.
And you swear that no one else is going to listen to it?
Yep. The librarian and I are the only ones who ever come in this room, and nobody else is in the club, so you are 100% safe.
And the Labor Day shift?
Done deal.
All right, fine. Why do you want a story so bad anyways? This had better not be another poetry thing.
I swear, that's the only thing people ever remember me by. I wrote one poem.
Yeah, and performed it at a talent show? Now, are we doing this or not? I'm missing cheer for this, and I want out of this dust closet sooner rather than later.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do this. This is interview number 002, case of Chelsea Keegan, in relation to...
Oh, what is this?
It's for organizing. Just go with it.
Fine, whatever. Cool.
Okay. Interview number 002, case of Chelsea Keegan.
In relation to a phone box?
Okay. Begin interview.
Don't look at me like that. It'll make sense. I guess. The best way to start is the beginning of high school. I've always, and always, wanted to be a cheerleader. High School Musical was stuck in my DVD player for years as a kid, and I can't stress enough how badly little Chelsea wanted a kid uniform and pom-poms. Me now likes them too, but little Chelsea was straight up obsessed with it. When 8th grade was ending and summer cheer tryouts started, you would have had to tear me away from those mats. I wanted it, and I wanted it so bad that I worked like a dog to get it. I did every single thing the captains asked the whole summer, and it got rough. so rough, actually, that the second I was in, I broke down and cried right there, full stop with waterworks and everything. I barely even cared about the initiation test everyone was talking about. I mean, if I never had to rub feet and buy salads ever again, I probably would have done anything. So when they handed me an address and told me to come there the night of the first day of school, I didn't even bat an eye. I went 8 p.m. to the address on the card and told my dad it was a sleepover. The building was on the edge of town, sort of near the fire station. It was some abandoned factory, but before I could step in, I heard the voices of Sarah and Bailey to my right. They're both graduated now, but I could hear their bitchy giggles from anywhere, and I'd be on it like a hawk. Anyway, I walk over to them, and they're both standing next to an old, rusty phone booth. Let me paint a picture here. It's late. I can see the sun setting behind these two, and this patchwork, gross rust bucket with enough stickers and paint on the glass that I couldn't see inside of it. The paint was chipped, nasty, and in all honesty, that was the first time so far that I had thought any about this. I mean, servitude and Titanus alike, this thing was off. Like, really genuinely strange. Why would there be a telephone box here, even if it was working? And the paintings and the stickers didn't help. I mean, most of them were unassuming, but some of them felt weirdly themed. Like a bunch of animal stickers looking at me in one corner, or a bunch of X's painted around the handle. Something about it was so painfully out of place with the cement squares and the clean streets around it that I hesitated for a second, not sure what to do. But deep down, I am a determined little motherfucker, and those months of being nice weren't gonna go to waste just because of a stupid red box. So I put on a happy face and let them explain. Here was the challenge. All I had to do to become a true red wolf or whatever was stay in this box all night and come out when the sun was up. If I could make it through the night, I could be reborn anew as a real red wolf. The wording was weird, but I've slept in way weirder places at parties before, so this felt way too easy for me. So I pretended to be a little spooked, and the two girls gave me a big send-off, promising to come and get me in the morning. And wow, if I just said no there, I mean, come on. Looking back on it, I couldn't feel any dumber. Hindsight is 20/20 though, so step in I did. Let the door rattle shut and everything. The inside of this phone booth was strange, to say the least. Huge patches of white adhesive from the stickers, some weird graffiti work, and a couple of crunched-up cans gave it all sort of a weird grunge look, all centered around this massive painting of a mouth, all done white and black over the phone and taking up the entire wall. Whoever made it never signed it, maybe because they were in a hurry. The paint smeared at the bottom, making everything below my knees look like some strange liquid zebra. Sorry, that's a lot. Point is, a strange mouth painted over the wall, and the sun was going down. It was weird, but not the kind of weird that had me scared. More unsettled. And for the first hour, that's all it was. Just a strange phone booth covered in stuff. I had an iPod with some music, and I hunkered down for a long, boring night. I must have dozed off for a couple hours, because the next thing I remember is the bright moon shining through the stickers. It was a cool effect, I can't lie, and it gave... I must have dozed off for a few hours, because the next thing I remember is the bright moon shining through the stickers. It was a cool effect, I can't lie, and it gave me just enough light to get shapes of everything around me. I sat in it for a while before I noticed something across from me, under the door. I couldn't make out the two blobs of shadow for at least a few seconds, but once I figured it out, my blood ran cold. Feet. 2 pairs of bare, veiny, nasty-ass feet standing right outside the door. They looked pale and gross, like someone who's never even heard of going outside. I called out loud, telling the person that this place was occupied. I mean, maybe it was just a homeless guy looking for a place to sleep. Regardless, the person attached to those feet didn't react. I mean, they were dead. Still, at first I tried to call out for a while, but nothing. I was seriously freaking out, but there was no way in hell I was opening the door if the person out there wasn't. I mean, that's the worst part, isn't it? This person, whoever they were, could have opened the door at any time. What would I have done? Nothing. I would have been dead fucking meat, and it would have been all for nothing. I sat there watching these still feet like hawks for what felt like hours, fully silent. After a while, I noticed the hand. Once I felt okay enough to take glances away from the feet, I took a quick look around the rest of the box. There, on the right side of me, a few feet up, was a handprint. Somebody, presumably the foot guy, was pressing a hand into the glass. More than ever, I was thankful they couldn't see in. Sitting there and stressing about what was happening was getting me nowhere. So I made an executive decision to put in some earbuds and try really, really hard to get some shut-eye. Of course, though, the second I turn away from that handprint, I see a second one, about eye level with the ground I was laying on the other fucking side. I almost just passed out on the spot. One crazy bum was too many, but two? I couldn't do it. I couldn't stay quiet for another damn second, so I yelled. I yelled at the guy at the door to fuck off and stay away from me. But as I finished that, I turn to see the other hand, and what else do I see? A second handprint right at the top, definitely too far apart to be the same guy. And that's when I hear it. Thud. 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 They were knocking. I whipped around to the other wall, and a cacophony of terrible thuds rattled a wall covered in tens of pairs of hands, all softly beating in off-kilter drums, none of them at the same time, and I started hearing them everywhere. The walls, the door, even the goddamn roof, and I was so fucking scared. I couldn't. I broke down and I cried, and I just kept crying until the thud stopped. It was hours of hands pressed on the glass like I was in a cage at a zoo, and it scared me so deep that I still don't even drive by there 2 years later. But then it ended. When they finally stopped the thuds, I was convinced I had hallucinated. I mean, it feels impossible that much noise to just stop so fast, like when it rains for 10 minutes. But as I opened my eyes, I realized that the hands were gone, and a tiny ray of sun had gone through the stickers and spotlighted the dark insides of this crazy phone box. Even better, the pair of feet were gone. It still took me 15 minutes to work up the nerve to actually leave, but when I did, I opened the door to the early morning sun, and I cried. I mean, who wouldn't? I almost didn't notice the neatly folded cheerleading uniform right in front of me, but I snatched that shit up like it was a hug from my mom, and I sat on the concrete, curled up in a ball for about 15 minutes until Sarah pulled up in her SUV. You know, she didn't speak a single word to me on the drive to my house. I think she knew. Maybe it was really just some big prank. That makes sense, right? That this all was some big joke that some seniors pulled on a freshman 2 years ago? That would make it so much easier. That would make it make so much sense. Individually, I could believe it, but the whole night was just too weird. It was so weird, and it still keeps me up to this day. Nobody's ever talked about it. Not then, and definitely not now. And I haven't talked about it with anyone else. That's it.
Are you okay? We can talk about it.
Enjoy Labor Day, and don't talk about this shit with anyone. I'm gonna know.
Wait, but... End recording.
Thank you so much for listening to Not Quite Right, a horror podcast written for the Imaginauts Network by Reilly Tanner. Now remember, please check us out on all available social media, and don't forget to lock your doors.